Hello, fellow RC car hobbyists. I don't actually RC car too much. That's not even proper English, I realize that, but I don't care. But every now and then I like to see what the hobby's doing, and I do enjoy running drift cars because they're slow. They're slow, but you still have to have some skill. I also like rock crawling because it's slow. I guess I'm simply not good enough to be driving fast vehicles. I used to have fast vehicles, and I used to crash them a lot. But slow vehicles, you don't crash as much, and they just last longer. So, anyways, on AliExpress there's a few people selling these, and there's a bunch of YouTubers already reviewing this, and it looks pretty good. So I went off of those positive reviews and bought this myself. So I went with the deluxe set, where you get the battery, because I saw a YouTuber saying this is not a standard size 350 battery, so I don't want to have to track a battery down, and so I decided to just buy one with the battery itself. And even though I have chargers, if I do take this on the road, I don't want to carry a big hobby charger with me, right? This is nice and small. I could literally just charge this anywhere I have a USB cable, right? A Type-C USB cable as well. So very convenient, very tiny. I think this could be 3D printed, this body. Yeah, so rough. I think that's 3D printed, but whatever, as long as it does the job. This cable is unnecessary. This is for a different type of connector, if you are able to find a different brand and they use the bigger connector type. Never mind. So here, let's just do that. Or maybe that cable actually goes to the car. We'll find out. I'm just wondering if this is gonna like start flashing or something, or maybe the battery's already charged. Well, we'll see. Maybe that light will go out later. I'll just position it in a way so we can see that light. Learn First Drift, FR Legends. I think this is some sort of video game, FR Legends, but I've never played it. So BM Hobby by FR Legends, and it's kind of a slightly deformed, cartoony Toyota Trueno, and this is pleasantly new, as it should be. On the back here, we have just some images. Oh, it has magnetic bumpers, and then some sort of bobblehead person, and you can flip up the lights. I don't know if it comes with the lights though. And you see here, there's an extreme steering angle. So this is what allows you to do drifts at a slower speed, because you have more angle. I think this is also rear-wheel drive only. So, anyways, this is the almost ready to run version. With those 2 extra bits, it's ready to run, supposedly. Oh, the controller probably needs batteries as well. Nope, didn't see this graphic either. 28,000. I assume that might be RPM. It looks like a MiniZ size motor. Some sort of on electronics board for probably everything, the receiver and the ESC. And then some sort of Metal Gear servo, which is nice, assuming that's supposed to represent metal. I can't read Chinese. Alright, well, I guess minimal packaging for what it is. Cardboard box, vacuum formed things here. Alright, so you have a parts list with parts numbers. If you break something, you can track down the part you need. This is like like a giant folding pamphlet. Oh, nice. Big assembly. Let's pause that, so if you lose this manual in the future, and maybe you could QR code this as well through your TV screen or something. Teaching you how to drift. Comes with some tools, supposedly. And yeah, okay, I'll try to figure that out. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is a spare motor, or if I actually have to put this in there. I think it's a spare motor, based on the other YouTubers. I think these might be steering knuckles, but we'll find out. The tools. Motor thing, yeah, it's just a brushed motor, by the way, so it is going to wear out eventually. You drift a lot, but I don't drift too much. So, and this is nice. It's an aluminum hex tool for probably to take the wheels off or something. Got a little knurling there. All right, so we got some sort of molded in carbon fiber texture here. This slides out that way. The arrow is molded in, and I'm going to have to go get some batteries. Well, for people that care about the planet, envelopes don't fit very easily. this, you know what, weird. No, yeah, see, it's a little tight. I guess you can jam them in there, but if you're gonna get them out easily, yeah, see, there's a lot of end loops are, something about the wrapper is very tight. You'll have to like slam it against something to get the battery out. So I'm gonna have to use some alkalines for this review because they just slide in nice and easy. Actually, there's a negative here and positive, so I guess I do have them correctly situated. Pretty tight spring in there, so yeah, that's a really hard spring. Just try to. Okay, all right. So that's that. I don't want to turn that on. I actually just want to open this hatch. So you gotta get a fingernail underneath this hatch. I just want to make sure everything's set to 0 so it doesn't go off in some crazy direction. It's actually set to 75, and this is it. I think it's actually set the factory correctly according to the instructions. It wants it to be around that, so I guess I will leave it alone. So the little blue light comes on there. Channel 3 and 4 maybe does the lights. There's actually like a brake system in here. It's interesting. Oh, this is one piece. It's weird. They probably shouldn't even have bothered with the cross drilling because they couldn't get it around the whole brake. And then a chromed blue thing there. Alright, so spring wise it's nice. It's not super strong. I had one RC review where this spring was so tight and strong it was tiring to use and made modulation very difficult. This I have no problems with. I guess that's it. Alright, for that, let's take a look inside here. Oh, I see. This is the driver. Cover up the electronics. So that's cool. That's really cool. I like that. And it's got separate pieces for good color separation. You can punch it out and custom paint it as well. Maybe paint the interior brown just so you can see the driver better. Oh, I see. I think this is a display chassis. So if you want to just display the body, you can. And then the car is already assembled, which is nice. Okay, we might as well go through this here. Interesting. So, just gotta, I guess, slap the wheels on. There's not an extra set of wheels though. You're literally gonna have to swap the tires out. And this is only meant for this thing. It would have been neat if they had extra holes here, so you could display other Kyosho bodies, because this looks like a Kyosho front tab. I assume this goes on here. Alright, well, let me get this out of the way. So we do have these 4 rubbery modern treaded design tires. There is a lip, it seems, so probably is directional of how it goes onto the wheel. There's like a ridge. Maybe it centers itself, I'm not sure. And then there's 4 plastic lug nuts, center locks. But I think that's probably just for the display, because it looks like there's metal ones on the real thing, because they're probably threaded. Alright, so now looking at the car, well, we should probably dimension this thing, right? Maybe weight is important to you. So the weight of this thing is 139 grams, but with the battery, which you're going to need, is 152 grams. If you put the person in there as well, now the whole thing is 170 grams. Alright, so let's see about the dimensions of this thing. With the mirrors, it's like 82 millimeters or so. The actual body itself, though, if you break them off, it's more like 70. The length, though, is too long for this caliper, unfortunately. So I'm going to bust out the ruler. I would say it's around 170 millimeters, maybe 6 3/4 of an inch in length. The height, I guess, well, if you want to put it into a storage box, that probably would be important to know. I would say it's around, give yourself like 62 millimeters of space. So, looking at the photos here, it's definitely a little cartoony, like the canopy is very tall, right? But the bottom half of it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good, actually, I think. I think the rear is nice. It's not as smoked out as those real lights, but alright, so now looking at this as a collectible model. it's well done actually. The transparent lights here, how they're amber on the edges, red, and you got the clear there. You can see there's the holes there, so you can add LEDs into those if you wanted to. There's no licensing whatsoever, so there's no indication this is a Toyota Trueno, Apex, none of that stuff. No license plate even. It's got the little bumps there for the license plate lights, but no actual holes for LED lights. They actually have black paint filled into this groove for some reason. Maybe, I don't know the answer why. They just added panel liner into this, right? So it's all popping like a model kit. Interesting. They would even bother doing that. The headlights are a different shade of white because they're, I don't know why the reason that is, because I was going to say this is raw plastic, but you can see the orange peel on this. So I think this is actually painted. But maybe this is just clear coated, whereas this is painted white and then clear coated. But there's an orange peel like a real car has. Oh, I see. Might be, I don't know if they're, I think they're connected, so you might want to use 2 fingers to do this. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I would suggest use both fingers because these are connected. If you only do one, you might shear that bridging piece of plastic. So putting these in the up position, there's nice Fresneling, and I think the light bucket again has a hole in there if you want to add LEDs yourself. The orange is a little crazy. It looks like a neon orange. Same back here. This is actually behind a clear piece of plastic. It's weird because this is amber, right? This looks like a normal turn signal. This looks like it's fluorescent. 2 physical vents there. Alright, so it's very glossy, pretty much like the real car. And the wheels are nice. They look like Watanabe F8s. You can see some suspension going on there. You can see it is threaded, the axle, and it has the nut there. Sounds like a metal nut there. Probably steel, maybe a nylock or something. The rear is weird because the axle doesn't come through as much. So it's like the axle is coming through too much on the front, but not on the rear. Oh, there's that magnetic bumper. So we have the magnet on the bumper itself, and then this, I don't know if there's a, oh, possibly there's a magnet on the back side or not. Something must be metal, steel in here, ferrous. Better look at the light mechanism. Okay. It's got 2 Phillips screws holding that light bar in place if you want to remove and modify it, but they're the holes for the LED lights, which I assume are 3mm. I can't get this in there. Sorry. Maybe we'll take off the whole body and find out. So, like a Kyosho MiniZ, you gotta pull the side tabs away, and that's how you get the thing off. Let's see if I can measure this hole. This, ooh, it's Chinese hair there. These look like 2mm holes. They look very small. I don't know. My calipers can't get in there, so I apologize. Yeah, you can always drill it out with a hand drill. Clearly a magnet here. I see this. So both pieces have magnets, and they're using the plastic to keep them separate. That's interesting. There's probably some crazy glue vapor there, so it is possible these magnets will work loose. You'll just have to crazy glue them back in. This actually has white paint on the top surface. That's a nice detail. Crazy glue residue just wiped off there. I would assume they did this because they're going to come out with body kit variations. Why else would they go through the effort of having removable bumpers? What do you think? Leave a comment if you, what other reason? Or maybe it's for crashing. When you crash, right? Like a real car, it takes some of the impact maybe? I don't know. What I do know though is it fits very nice. You wouldn't even know those bumpers are removable. Like, it's so well done, the tightness of it. The door handle here is black as well. Obviously the mirror, and the mirror has a reflective sticker, kind of like a die-cast car has. But you might want to press that sticker in or it's going to probably fall loose when you crash. Oh boy, but I think I just made it look worse. But I don't want to lose that sticker. You can add paint in there later if you lose the sticker. The window has just got some friction fit pins, so you could probably pop that out. I don't see any vapor from the glue, so I think it's just friction. So if you want to repaint the body, you can pop that out first. It's a bit cloudy though. It's actually very cloudy. It's not clear. Look at my hand on this side, and through the window it's cloudy. Weird. Maybe that's a stronger plastic, I'm not sure. There's actually a tape right here. Maybe it'd be smart to leave that tape, or I'm not sure if that had to do with just shipping. I don't know. Alright, let's see if we can get this in. So these holes are actually hexagonal, it looks like. So hopefully that won't create so much grip that you'll shear off those white pins. Maybe you gotta spread apart the body, just like you're taking it on and off. I'm gonna try it this way. Okay, that might be the way. Just this bumper's kind of annoying. Alright, so I'm gonna just try to line those pins up. There we go. The rear one doesn't. There we go. Snapped in place. Alright, so there you go. Yeah, that's cool. Very neat. I guess if you're worried, you could just put some glue here, or just tape, you know, maybe on the sides and the front, and maybe some tape in the back, but yeah, maybe you do want to do that. So I just have 4 pieces of Scotch tape. If this doesn't work, I'll leave in the description that you should not use tape. So just looking over the design of this thing, it's quite well thought out, I think. Interesting design features. First, it comes with the drift tires on it, and they're a little bit domed, so you're not creating so much friction. You're basically just doing it in the center of the tire. I did try to actually pull this off, and you can just swap out the tires possibly on the vehicle, but it's obviously going to be easier if you do it off the vehicle. But yeah, there's this ledge, so the tires are directional. You have to put the ledge on the inside so it butts up against this lip here. Okay, I'm never going to use the grip tires. Just no reason to. One thing that's quite interesting and somewhat disturbing is how close this spur gear, not the spur gear, whatever this larger gear is, to that drive shaft cup, right? Look at this. It's like a millimeter away. I guess maybe it'll never touch it, and you can actually see the little play in the dog bone, but it is a steel dog bone, so that's nice. It's not going to break. And then it's got vertical coils like a MiniZ, but what MiniZs don't have is this link. And so I assume they're going to have some aftermarket parts, or someone's going to come out with a link that you can adjust the width of it to have toe in and toe out. Right now it looks pretty much parallel to me, but maybe yeah. But watch what happens when I lift the suspension up. Right? It actually has toe out. So I don't know if that's something that's good for drifting. I think most of the time you want toe in, where they're going in this V, like a point this way instead of a point back here. But maybe this is good for drifting. So as it compresses the suspension, maybe it catches itself better? I don't know. Leave a comment if you know the theory behind that. But it's using all stainless hardware, it looks like, so I don't know who's going to run this in the rain, but you don't have to worry about it rusting. These are 1.3 and 1.5 millimeter hex keys if you lose those. It's just plastic here, friction, that's fine. And definitely you don't have to install the motor, it's already there. The electronics here is nice and obvious. Red is for the battery, but it also has some text explaining that. It looks like they're going to have some lights you can add here. And then I'm not sure what the channel 4 here would be for. Yeah, so maybe a video camera? Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Well, anyways. So that's good. Easy swap out of the motor. Just these little connectors. And so the servo here, that's all upside down. That makes sense. This one you could adjust the length of that link. And then looking at the bottom, you can undo this and move this piece forward and back where this link is attaching to this pivot point. See what's going on there? So you can see hopefully that these links are pointing to the front. They're not vertical right now. So what I theorize here is if you move this pivot point forward, it's going to create more toe out, which I do see in drifting quite often. Right now it even has, I think, a little bit of toe out. But I'm going to just try to memorize this right there. I don't really want to touch it. I want to see how it runs exactly from the factory. So I haven't touched anything. But again, stainless screws. That one maybe is not stainless, but and then you could remove that and swap out different tongues, perhaps for other Kyosho MiniZ bodies. It's all plastic. It wasn't super expensive, but it does seem well thought out. The same kind of spring idea as MiniZ's. And then again, maybe they'll have adjustable links there in the future as an aftermarket thing. Alright, and then it's just plastic for the top and bottom. And then if you were to loosen those, you could adjust the wheelbase. Again, most likely to fit other bodies, either from Kyosho or possibly this could scale up to a 124 scale body. In fact, hold on. Here's a Fiat 131 124th by Italeri. It's a model kit. It's possible. Yeah, definitely doable, right? Because if the front wheel is centered right now, look how much extra wheelbase I can pull out of this to get into here. So I'm pretty sure this is designed to fit a lot of 124 scale bodies. Alright, what else is there to see in this thing? Yeah, I was really impressed with this whole thing, adjusting that forward and back, the toe in, toe out easily. Yeah, okay, I guess that's it. So let's take a look here. Alright, so now I guess the battery is charged. Before it was like purple, but now it's just flat red. You'd think it would just start with red and maybe just turn itself off when it's done. Maybe it will turn itself off when it's done, but it's been a while now, so I'm pretty sure it has some power in there to run this thing. So the battery hatch here. Alright. Oh, you know what? I should measure this battery, because if it is non-standard size, or really more importantly is the opening here. Oh wait, it's not just the opening. There's actually ribs in there. So that, well, I guess I could still measure that for you guys. There's some details there. Alright. So the battery width wants to be under, I would say 19 millimeters or under. The battery height wants to be 13 or under. The depth, though, that's a different story. Oh, let's see if I can. Oh, it's coming out both sides. I guess the depth or the length of the battery doesn't matter, because you could just open up the doors. You see how they're not going to get in the way. Alright, so whether you want to install the battery from the left side or the right side, you can. And in fact, actually, this is actually quite wobbly. It's, yeah, I probably could have gotten away with a different battery here. But anyhow, let's close this hatch. It doesn't have much of a lock, though. I don't think there's a lock at all. So I'm not sure why these doors are designed that way. There's a notch here. I see a notch. But what would keep the battery from not just falling out when you hit a wall and opening? I guess the body of the car is what's going to keep it in place, but the weight balance is going to get thrown off a little bit. I put a rubber band on here, but it's actually unnecessary. I realized this shape is what these black side tabs are going to slot into. So once you put a body on, there's no way that door is going to open, because those clips are literally pushing against it. But the reason why I left the rubber band on is because this battery is never going to leave this thing. So, you know, I just don't want it to fall out and hit the floor and stuff like that. So those little things in the bag are the uprights for the front steering for touring mode, and they have a very thick tab here, whereas the drifting one you can see here is very thin. So it comes with the drifting ones in place already, just to show you for comparison here. Look how thin this little piece of plastic is there. And mainly because it's drifting. It's not going to be running at high speeds, crashing into walls, right? But this one is factoring that in maybe to try to prevent it from maybe shearing off or bending the axle, perhaps. I'm not sure, really, to be honest with you, why they have this here. But it's there. So just to remember, the thick one is for touring, T is for thick in touring, and drifting is just the opposite. I can't make up English for that one. One other thing about the instructions. Down here, you might want to keep this or make note of this. So the drifting mode is 75. Touring mode should be 25 to 50 for this steering rate, I guess. Those don't refer to any. Oh well, this bottom rate here. Maybe this is the gyro gain. Yeah, so drifting 6 to 9, and touring 5 to 6. Okay. All right, let's turn the radio on. Nice little audible noise as well as the blue light. There is a green and red light that just went away there. I don't have channel 3 and 4, but that's how you know that they're on. And let's pop this battery in and see if it binds itself. So flashing Christmas trees, colors there. I don't see a bind button. There is this thing, it just says switch though, it doesn't say bind. There's a partial cutout looking circle there. I'm also not sure what those dip switches are. Maybe if you're experienced, you could leave a comment for others what those would do. Oh, it just bound. It just takes time. Alright, so the gyro is clearly working. And then, alright, pretty responsive. Reverse, pretty responsive. Just trying to see how much angle before it starts driving. Not much. Very little before it starts moving the wheels. Rear, reverse much more though. Look at that. Actually, I think it has to be done quickly. Oh, wait. I don't know why the first time it didn't. Well, see. Well, I'm not going to drift rear backwards very often anyway, so it doesn't matter. Alright, let's see. Hold on, I'm going to change the camera angle here. Just want to see the steering. Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's like hobby grade steering angle. Alright, this should probably drift well, although I don't have a good floor for it. So let's pop this in here. Spread apart the side plates, and that goes into the battery thing, so those doors again can't open. Oh, let me show you that suspension at work there. And then these are all magnetized to each other. I'm going to set these up on the floor. Oh, this one is the magnet's so heavy that it wants to flip over. So that's unfortunate that they, I guess you could, oh, there we go, never mind. Oh, the rear one though. You could add some weight to the front corners of this bumper if you want to, you know, just have this thing sitting so that when you reverse it, it picks it up. Oh, now this is a little weird. What happened here? Oh, look at that. Alright, so that's kind of an interesting gimmick, but not sure if it's necessary at all. I want to show you, I haven't used this at all. Those tires are pristine. They're brand new, so I want to show you how bad of a driver I am and if a complete imbecile is able to drive this thing. Also, this is not even a smooth surface. This fake wood floor has a lot of undulations. I gotta say, I'm going quite slow and it is drifting. Look at that. Oh, hold on. So, this floor is so slick. I mean, it's plastic, so I gotta get some momentum. I feel like I should go faster though, so I'm gonna up the throttle. This one, say it's 75. I'm gonna jam that up to 100. Oh, that's what it is. I am an idiot. I did disclose that information. Alright, this is much better. Hold on, I can hit focus. Wow. So within less than a minute, I would say I just did a figure 8 drifting. Look out, cat. Come on. Wow, this is awesome. Look at that. I'm actually not even using full throttle, not even close. I'm gonna punch it right here, hold on. But yeah, the floor is very slick, so maybe on a carpet or some other type of flooring that would take off more, but here it's all about very slow speed. I gotta say, this is really good. So out of the box, brand new, if you're patient, you don't just mash the throttle, you can do very slow speed drifting. That's what I want. I mean, look how small my space is. Yeah, I have like a all-wheel drive MiniZ, and four-wheel drive, all-wheel drives, you have to go pretty fast in order to drift it. So that's why I like rear-wheel drive stuff, because you can go a lot slower. Like this is insanely slow. I was trying to drift around the cat, but trying to find the magic throttle spot for this flooring. This could be it. Alright, I'm just kind of, the throttle pitch is the same. You can hear this throttle hasn't changed, but I'm just kind of drifting around. Oh, it's getting a little too fast there. I'm impressed. That's really cool. I can barely tell there's a bobblehead in there. You really don't pay attention to it much. So if you want a super lightweight thing, just take it out. But I'm going to leave it in there. It's so slow, you don't really have to worry about durability unless you do get some big sweeping high-speed drifts, but I can't do it here. So far, so good. So I wanted to see if you could fit aftermarket MiniZ wheels, and I don't think it's doable. If you look at the inside of this wheel here, it's not a MiniZ interface. MiniZ all-wheel drive wheels have basically like a circle that with the two sides chamfered off, or cut off, not chamfered. So basically it'll drive, right? It'll send the force through the wheel instead of it's spinning. So this isn't going to work because this literally just has these two plastic tabs here, and that's what's driving this wheel. The front though, maybe it's just a round shaft, so maybe you could use like one of the regular two-wheel drive front wheels. I don't know if those have this shaft or not. I have a suspicion they don't, but I don't have a two-wheel drive MiniZ, so a rear-wheel drive MiniZ. That's a real shame because there are so many cool wheels that Kyosho does. Like their body kits just well, they look like model kits, right? Some people just collect MiniZ body shells. But this isn't going to work. On the front, you could take this and drill out the hole, I suppose, but I don't want to do that. And then here's just some 4.5 millimeter aluminum nuts. but it's not going to fit the standard tool this came with. It's much bigger, so you got to you know, buy one of these cheap little hex tools for RC stuff. And yeah, so it's hard to read, but that does say 4.5 millimeter there. And I'm curious if I can at least pimp out the center nut. There's a metal washer, I think, in this wheel. It's very shiny looking. And then that's it. So the bearing must be in here. But this one, you can clearly see this is the bearing right there. So, alright. Okay, well the threading does work. Oh, but the tool is actually starting to scrape this plastic. So this tool is a little bit too big. You'd have to probably sand down the perimeter if you want to, you know, pimp out the thing with aluminum nuts. On the front it wouldn't be an issue because it's not recessed. You can just put that nut on there. But I kind of want my nuts to be matching. That's a joke right there. Okay, so that's unfortunate that it's not going to be able to use a lot of the standard parts that have been around for decades with Kyosho MiniZs. I think WL Toys also might use this interface, so like the K989, 969. So I don't think any aftermarket wheels for the WL Toys will fit this thing either. Well, I have a suspicion, you know, or I'm hoping maybe these guys will actually just come out with their own aluminum nuts that can fit that thing, and maybe they come with another tool that fits that recess, or they should really just design the wheel differently so it's not recessed in the first place. And then I'd like to see, you know, other wheels. Watanabe F8s are fantastic and all, but I think it'd be cool if we saw some other old school JDM wheels, like work wheels, what other ones, Rays wheels, Racing Heart. There's a lot of JDM wheels, right, that I think would work well. I'm also not sure if there are even other body kits for this thing. So what other body kits, you know, could they come out with? So what about a play there? Just a tiny bit of play, so I think I have it. Well, looking at the exposed thread, yeah, there's maybe two threads exposed, so I was questioning if that's tight enough, but I guess it is. Yeah, the ball bearing's nice, right? In fact, I think I tightened it too much. So I decided to mess around with the adjuster there, and I moved it all the way up, and you can see this toe out. If you move this all the way back, it's going to be, well, I have to adjust the servo now. It's like parallel or toe in, the more back this goes, but that's not good for drifting, not to my experience. So you want to actually slam that all the way forward, and you can see the amount of toe out is quite drastic, but for me I find it useful. It's helping. Now here's the issue. I try to just do it with the throttle, the steering trim, but what would happen is it would lock full blast on one side, and that's what these little tabs are for, I've now realized. This tab literally slams up against the back of the suspension arm, as you can see. But there wasn't enough travel, so I had to make an adjustment. So you can see both sides now touch the suspension arms, right? That little tab. So I first tried to just pop the ball off of that thing and then tried to unscrew this to make it longer. But there isn't enough material in the metal rod connecting these two plastic bits. So basically I had to unscrew the servo. There's plastic screws, and each side has this little stainless steel plate there. And that's, I guess, protecting it against from stripping out maybe that plastic. So I basically actually tightened up that thing, and then I took the servo out, and then I basically put the plastic thing in this recess, and it's actually not 90 degrees anymore. But what I think happened is it moved over 1 or 2 notches on the servo horn. Right now my steering trim, I had it here, so it wasn't perfect. You can see at steering trim 0 my tires are steering a little bit off, but there's still enough travel that I can straighten this out, right? And I can still slam the steering in both directions. So that's what you got to do. Be mindful the servo screw is a machine screw. Hopefully you can see that. It's a finely threaded screw. That's for the servo. And then the other 4, again, are coarse, like plastic screws. Oh, one reminder, there's just some double-sided tape, some sort of like fiberglass tape here holding that in place. So if that bothers you, you know, you can maybe glue it in place or something like that. But be mindful, you know, you don't want to pull this too much. These are very delicate wires to the motor. I tried to actually pull this out so I could deal with the servo easier, but it's really hard. I couldn't get this out easily. Oh, now of course that I'm on camera, I can. Anyway, so you might want to pull that out just so you don't mess with it and destroy it as you're messing with the servo. But it is good to remove this because now I can go and add back these screws and the stainless plate and to have full access to the screw heads. So like that, right? So once again, just back it out till it clicks into that thread. Right there. And you know, this is plastic, so you really don't have to screw it with much pressure at all because you'll strip out the hole. Alright, so just until you see it like press down on that steel plate and a little bit of resistance. That's not going to go anywhere, right? It's got 4 screws holding in place. Maybe I'll get some new, you know what, that's still quite sticky, whatever this tape is. And probably just balance that out right in the middle. And there you go. Alright. And now put the motor back on. Ooh, is there any indication of positive and negative side? I think maybe this little tab is directional, so I think you can only put this connector in one way. And it's probably this way if I had to guess. Yeah, alright. Yeah, that's good. Oh, it actually is red on this side also. So that's nice that that red color is there. Let's see how it drives down. Alright, I gotta say that is fantastic. So here are my settings right here, if it should help you. So again, you gotta slam that adjuster all the way forward for the maximum toe out, adjust the servos, and then for me, I have this around the trim around 1, so it's steering straight. That might vary depending on the teeth in your servo horn. But here I have it around, what, 70, maybe 80% for the steering rate. And then there's no numbers really on the gyro. I would say it's around the 6:30 or 7 o'clock position, and then the throttle is just 0 for the trim, so it doesn't go forward or backwards, of course. But the rate of my throttle is way down to 50, so I'm getting more modulation, you know, through this travel. You can obviously punch it up to 100, but it'll be, for me, I don't have the skills to do it. This is a very slick plastic floor. That could be the issue as well. But this thing is absolutely brilliant. Again, I have no affiliation, but this is awesome. This is actually drifts better than my Drift Art 2. I never got that to actually work well. I mean, it will work, but the front wheels are so wobbly when I'm going this slow on this undulating plastic floor. But I don't see these wheels going haywire like on my Drift Art 2. So this company knows what they're doing. I think this company actually makes a really high-end chassis, like an all aluminum or all carbon fiber chassis that's like $200 or $300 or something. But this is fantastic. I kind of wish they just sold the car itself without the controller. And if anyone knows the protocol for this particular electronics board, because I have an MT12, you know, multi-protocol radio, maybe it would be nice to program that so I don't have to carry an extra controller around. But obviously that's an investment you don't need to make with this setup here. I can't say good things enough. I'm not aware of anything in this price range that can drift this slow and this tight. You cannot drift a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive car around something so small, or I haven't been able to. If you can, you know, you're a mad skilled driver, but me not so much. if someone could make this kind of chassis even smaller, like 1/43rd scale, I don't know if it's, I don't think you can do it in 1/64, but that would be crazy. But this is awesome. All right, we'll see you in the next review.